do Matthew Isles and Greg Paulus have in common? Well, the number 4 means something to them, and that is that neither of them will be graduating without seeing a win over North Carolina in Cameron Indoor Stadium. Welcome to this special edition of Talking Basketball on the Chronicle sports blog. I'm Ben Cohen.
And you already met me, I'm Matt Isles.
And we're going to be wrapping up Duke's 101-87 loss to North Carolina Wednesday night. Matt, it was a tough game for Duke. They went into halftime with the lead. North Carolina came storming back in the second half. Played really well tonight. Mike Krzyzewski said the Tar Heels played an A-plus game, and that's how he referred to it. Why did the Tar Heels win tonight? What was your key?
I think to be specific, you could probably say North Carolina played an A-plus second half. The Blue Devils, the second 10 minutes of the first half were explosive, playing some of the best basketball they've played all year against one of the best teams they've faced all year.
Maybe the best team.
Yeah. And but then that second half, Ty Lawson really took over the game. But then, Duke had chances to answer. They had open shots, especially on the perimeter. They just couldn't hit them like they were at all, but especially not at all like they were in the first half.
Right. North Carolina went on a 14-0 run, part of, I think it was a larger 23-6, something like that, to really pull away from Duke. And as you mentioned, Lawson was really in the middle of all of it. Scored 21 of his season-high 25 points in the second half, slashed through the Duke defense, seemingly at will, really easily, made other players better. Krzyzewski said that's the sign of a really good player. He's a weapon that sort of brings out their other weapons. He said, he played like an NBA point guard tonight, and he really did. He just really abused Nolan Smith and Greg Paulus in the second half, and Duke had no answer for him. Perhaps surprisingly, it wasn't Tyler Hansbrough who killed the Blue Devils. Yeah. He ended up, I think, 15 points, but a really quiet 15 points. It was Lawson, and he was just really put the game away from North Carolina.
A great point that Coach Roy Williams brought up in the post-game press conference was this ability that Lawson has to both be patient and aggressive. And you could really tell that he would bring the ball up, and kind of, assess what the defense was giving him, just standing out there on the perimeter, taking a couple seconds, and then he would attack right to the basket. And score, like you said, it's seemingly at ease, but obviously it takes superior athletic talent like Lawson has to be able to do.
Now let's talk about the point guard on the other side of the ball, Greg Paulus, the only true senior on the team, graduating without beating North Carolina in Cameron. Just as Hansbrough and Danny Green have won every game in Cameron, Paulus has been on the losing end of that. He was really shaken up in the locker room after. Looked like he might have been crying, probably the worst that we've seen him in a locker room. He's come on in the last few games, and he's clearly a crowd favorite. The Cameron Crazies love Greg Paulus. He takes time to applaud them before and after every game. Wednesday night was no different, but you have to sort of feel for Paulus a little bit after this one, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Probably one of the big reasons why Cameron Crazies love him so much is because he plays with so much emotion. That's just the kind of player that fans and people have gotten to know him for. So it's not really surprising that he would be distraught after a loss like this. He came out and he got the biggest ovation of any of those starting five.
Undoubtedly, not even close.
Yeah. He played a pretty aggressive first half. He was diving for loose balls.
Scored 8 points,
scored 8
3-pointers.
And he was a factor in the game. And then in the second half, Ty Lawson, like you said, just kind of took over and really showed, showed all those weaknesses that people have been worried about with Greg Paulus on defense all season.
But to be fair, Smith couldn't stop him either.
True, yeah. But I mean, it's disappointing for Paulus as it is for all us graduating seniors. But you feel for him, but there's still plenty of season left, I think.
Right, but unfortunately for Paulus, he couldn't score at all in the second half. Ended up with 8 points, and in a game after the first half, which Nolan Smith called the fastest half he's ever played in any level of basketball. Gerald Henderson said something along the same lines. It was a really first half, and Duke couldn't really recover from it. They didn't have enough, especially in a Cameron Indoor Stadium that was just boiling hot. I mean, we were really sweating on press row.
Yeah, we were just sitting there. I can't imagine what it was like to run up and down as much as they were.
And it might have been even hotter at a bonfire on Maine West, but we'll never know.
We'll never know.
That's it for this episode of Talking Basketball. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next game. Take care.